The United States economy, and for that matter, the world's economy, is falling apart and like never before. This recession is going to be absolutely one of a kind, and here's why. So, in this video, we are going to be covering a few things. Number one, why this recession is going to be different than the rest. Number two, how this happened. Number three, how to be profitable and make money during this unprecedented recession. And number four, my thoughts on what's going to happen next when it comes to crypto, real estate, and all of that good stuff. So let's get right into it, guys. So we are now in a technical recession with over 2 quarters of negative GDP, with the first quarter decreasing at 1.6% and the second quarter decreasing at 0.9%. And right now, the White House and analysts are in a period of fumbling over their own words to change the definition of what a recession really is. But for most people, it doesn't matter, because whatever the word recession means isn't going to change the fact that we are in a period of slowing economic growth. But this 2022 recession is completely unique and has been confusing many experts and analysts like no economy ever has. If we look at every recession since 1950, we'll see that typically when the GDP goes down, unemployment goes up. But when we look at this particular recession, we're seeing that the GDP is falling, and we're also seeing a major shrinking in unemployment. In theory, this can't last long, and it's extremely unsustainable for our economy. We're seeing inflation with higher prices for food, fuel, and everything that relies on these types of resources. With inflation high though, people are spending less money and are beginning to budget, which results in less profit for businesses. But there's only one problem. In the past few years, businesses have been running on record high profit margins, which means that at the end of the day, they are taking home more money. As a result of this, they have a major safety net of cash on hand in case the market crashes. Hopefully, this will prevent a major economic down spiral in just a matter of days. And this is great because it gives the Fed plenty of time to raise interest rates and bring things back to normal. So hopefully businesses can continue to go about their daily lives with as few changes as possible. But interestingly enough, there are more open job positions now than ever before, with many people retiring during the lockdowns. Part of this probably has to do with the higher demand for goods and services, but it probably also has to do with the fact that the United States printed more money in the last few years because of stimulus checks than ever before, but it only ends up resulting in more people being hired, and so on and so forth. But then this leaves us with only 2 results of what could happen in the coming weeks. Number one, we'll see the economy adjust and it'll continue to rise again, and hopefully companies will begin to expand. Or the more likely option, the economy continues to shrink and eventually companies will be forced to let people go. So obviously this is a very unique situation for our economy. But why and how did we really end up here? Well, the short answer, high inflation. But this inflation is coming from a bunch of different things like the pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and especially the stimulus checks of the past few years. Now, inflation in modest numbers is actually a good thing. It's needed to keep the economy growing, because when the economy isn't running at full capacity, meaning there's unused labor or resources, inflation theoretically helps increase the production. And this is why the Federal Reserve usually aims to have inflation around 2% every single year, which then allows for things such as an increase in wages and charging interest rates on loans from the banks. Along with this though, it decreases the risk of deflation. For those of you who don't know what deflation is, it is probably even worse than inflation because everything falls. This includes prices, income, spending, and even employment. This is exactly what happened in the 2008 recession. So, in conclusion, a little bit of inflation isn't a bad thing. But with us blowing through the annual estimate with over 8.3% inflation in the month of August, this completely changes the game. Think of it this way. Say I go to the food store in January to buy an apple. This apple costs $1. Then I go back again in February to buy that same apple, but now it costs $2. The price is going up and yet I'm getting the same amount. And before you know it, this isn't only for apples. It's now for apples, bananas, oranges, and eventually the whole food store and lots more. And then this eventually causes what's known as a wage spiral. So first, employees want higher wages because of the high prices of things, and then businesses give them that increase. But in turn, businesses then have to raise prices for their own products. This then going back to employees asking for higher wages again because the prices don't stop climbing. So to stop this, the Fed is tasked with raising interest rates to combat this so-called wage spiral. And right now we're at 2.25%, and it will only keep going up until we find the absolute peak of inflation. But it's hard to know when that's going to be. But until then, most people with mortgages and loans are going to be looking at paying a lot more every single month. But for most people, the question that they have is, how is this going to affect me? Well, for most people, the cost of living is going to go up, and the amount that you'll have to be spending on necessities and consumption, such as things like gas, food, and your electric bill, are all likely to go to prices that they haven't been at in years. So until all of this is over, what can you do to be more profitable? Well, there are some smart moves that you could be making during all of this to make some more money. Things like starting an online business or investing into financial assets such as crypto, stocks, and real estate when the prices begin to come down on the asset side of things even more are all really good ideas to start making more money. And if you want more information on how to make smart investing moves during this recession, make sure to click on the first link in the description below, where I talk about how you can really use this recession to build true wealth. On top of this though, people historically tend to put their monies into commodities such as gold and silver when there's high inflation or a recession. Besides investing though, another thing you need to make sure to do is to get rid of debt, because with interest rates rising, paying off your credit card debt is going to be essential to getting into a better financial position. But anyway, with all of this information that we have, where is everything headed from now? Well, I think these next 6 to 12 months are going to be extremely rough for the United States, because you can't just print billions of dollars and have no consequences from that. I really honestly expect there to be a major market crash in the next few months. We're already starting to see a major downtrend as I record this on September 26th or whatever the date is, but I think these prices for regular things aren't going away for a while, and that this is just going to be the new normal, unless something drastically changes with the market or the US dollar. But these are just my personal thoughts. I could be completely wrong, and I probably am, but I guess we'll find out, everybody. Thank you all for watching, good luck, and I'll see you guys in the next one.